Welcome back to the Humble Healer podcast. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. As a Patriots fan, I'm very excited. And very grateful that this is the 12th time that the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. We did have a phenomenal 20 years where the Patriots went into the Super Bowl 9 times and won 6 and lost 3 during the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick era. They certainly made the winter here a lot more bearable because the coldest time of the year is also the most exciting time of the year for the Patriots fan. And we were in the playoff almost every year. Actually, virtually every year except for 2002 season. That is unbelievable on the record. I think 2009 also when Tom Brady came back from injury. I became a fan in 1994, and 2 years later they got into their second Super Bowl, either second or third, and then they lost that one to the Packers. But I remember the last 3 Super Bowls that we won. That was phenomenal, and there was excitement, especially the first 2, 2014 and 2016, when we beat the Seahawks, and also when we beat the Falcons, coming back from being down 28-3 with 2 minutes and 8 seconds remain in the third quarter, which is I don't think will be ever repeated. It's incredible, and very grateful to be part of that on the winning side. And it's part of, we have heartbreaks too. We were undefeated until the last game of the season, losing to the Giants in 2007 season. Just like life, there will be heartbreaks and there will be joy. So appreciate it. And as a Patriots fan, we do win more than we lost, so we're very happy. So go Patriots. Drake May jersey. I know he's a young quarterback, and we just hope he doesn't make mistakes. But if he wins the MVP, that'll be a nice bonus, because Super Bowl is such a big stage, put a lot of pressure on a young quarterback like him. So hopefully the defense will come through tonight for us to bring home the 7th Vince Lombardi trophy. Today, I'll talk about a compound that is being sold over the counter. It's called 7-OH compounds in different formulary. The reason why this is important, because it's been purified to be very high in concentration in opiates, acting on the opioid receptors, just like morphine, heroin, and fentanyl, causing similar symptoms, including opioid overdose symptoms. And there have been cases of deaths already, and increasing number of youth reporting to rehab and also detox center and emergency department due to toxic overdose effects by these compounds being sold in the gas stations and other over-the-counter common area convenience stores and so on. So my patient raised awareness about this, and I read about it, and I thought it was interesting and important to make sure that all the youth population out there is aware. There are alerts by Texas Public Health, Ohio, Florida, and many others, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So what is 7-OH and why is it being targeted in kratom products? Let's talk more about this product, and then we'll learn how to deal with it. So there is an expert explaining that this is a synthetically derived part of the kratom leaf and is dangerous and addictive as a potential. And what is kratom? Kratom is leaves from a tree native to Southeast Asia. And in herbal medicine, it has similar effect to opioids. It is most often found as a powder in the US in capsule or tea form, and most recently concentrated extracts. A compound that makes up a tiny portion of the kratom leaf has generated concern in recent years, and as herbal products derived from the leaf but synthesized in lab to market, more potent versions have contributed to call to poison centers and high-profile deaths. In May, Colorado Governor the Daniel Prager Act into law, named after a young man who died from toxic combination of a highly concentrated product of the active psychoactive ingredient found in kratom and a common allergy drug. Among other things, the act limits the concentration in kratom products of 7-OH. The full name is 7-hydroxymidrogenine, a potent compound that makes up less than 1.1% of the natural kratom leaf. The Texas Department of State Health Service also warning people not to use product containing 7-OH, and this can cause significant health problem and may have potential for dependence or abuse. As of August 27, 2025, Texas Poison Center Network had received 192 reports of exposure involving kratom or another product containing 7-OH in 2025, compared with 107 for all of 2024 and 122 for all of 2023. So even up to August 2027 of last year, there were already 192 reports. Of the 225 reports, 19 were exposure to concentrated 7-OH product, which most of those caused coming in July and August. Of the 19 patients reporting exposure to concentrated products, 11 had health problems serious enough to be treated at a healthcare facility. So kratom and 7-OH products are sometimes marketed as natural remedies for pain, anxiety to help with opioid withdrawal. Kratom products typically contain low 7-OH concentration, less than 2%. However, semi-synthetic or synthetic 7-OH products have concentration up to 98% and are now more readily available. The concentrated 7-OH is often added to kratom products because of its opioid-like characteristic. There is significant potential for abuse. In studies, 7-OH show up 13 times the potency of morphine. Products containing concentrated 7-OH are sold as pills, gummies, candies, and imitation ice cream cones at gas stations, smoke shops, and online. And as we are aware, these products, they're not very exact with the concentration or the amount as listed, as many studies have found. So when you buy these, you really don't know how much you are going to get in terms of the potentially toxic substance. In July 2025, U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced steps to restrict access to 7-OH products due to its strong opioid-like effects. Kratom and 7-OH do not have an FDA-approved medical use, and product contains 7-OH have not been proven to be safe or effective. On July 29, 2025, U.S. FDA recommended adding 7-OH to the Schedule I drug list, putting it in the category of heroin, but labeled as having no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Kratom's main psychoactive constituent is called mitragynine. That is what gives kratom its opioid-like, pain-relieving, and euphoric effects. 7-OH is more water-soluble version of that main active target, but it is about 5 to 54 more potent on the brain than mitragynine as an opioid receptor agonist or stimulator. What happened is there are not enough 7-OH in the leaf to economically purify it away from everything else, so companies have purified mitragynine, which can be bought in bulk in kilograms. Then in a laboratory, they put the hydroxyl group on the 7th position to make a 7-OH. In chemistry, we will call it semi-synthetic, meaning that it starts from a natural compound and then we partially synthesize the version. When we compare mitragynine to 7-OH, 7-OH is always more potent, which is why more problematic. So if you make kratom tea, you have to put about 3 grams of powder into water to make tea and get a dose people are using for, including legitimate medical purposes, such as to stop drinking alcohol or to wean themselves off of prescription opioids. But no one is going to ever ingest 3 grams of leaf powder. The leaves are very bitter, like most alkaloids are. Even if it's capsule, that's like taking 6 extra strength Tylenol capsules at a time. It's not a lot of fun to consume and act as a limiting factor. But when you take several times of the amount of that powder, isolate the mitragynine, concentrate it, and then put in a little shot size beverage container like these 7-OH products have been seen in, you get multiple of doses that you would otherwise get in the powder leaf. That's why the general feeling in the kratom consumer community is that the powder is kind of self-limiting, whereas these concentrated products can get you into trouble. Similar to caffeine drink at the highest level versus coffee or flower cannabis versus shatter. So caffeine energy drink that are in these tiny container with extremely high level caffeine, people can end up with heart attacks if they drink several of those, where you would have to drink a significantly higher amount of coffee to get into health problem. But caffeine, like most drugs, have very impact on different people's system. Also for cannabis, some go for shatter versus flower in cannabis because even the most potent cannabis, flower is only 20 to 25% THC concentration, but shatter and waxes have up to 70 to 95% of THC. So back in Colorado, there's a case of Daniel Brager. He passed away in 2021 because of poor labeling, and he did not know how much of this chemical he was getting. His family said he was looking for an aid to help with his anxiety and accidentally consumed both one of these high-strength kratom products alongside the antihistamine diphenhydramine and died the next day. Dr. Kroll, an herbal researcher, also add that a new paper just published looking at 551 deaths in Florida where mitragynine were detected post-mortem. And in 93.5 of these cases, at least one of the other chemicals was found in the system, most commonly fentanyl. So kratom is rarely fatal on its own, only inspired to mitragynine, and 7-OH mitragynine is being partially activated at mu opioid receptor. So that's the part, is that the challenges of labeling it as it related to the supplemental industry. The problem is the difficult arise from regulating of the supplement industry in the US, and also how we regulate herbal supplements and dietary supplements very differently than how we regulate the pharmaceuticals. The content, the purity, the dosing, the reproducibility are much stricter for prescription or over-the-counter medicine, and most non-existent in terms of regulation for herbal medicine. There are increasing requirements for herbal medicine to list the actual amount of active chemicals, like echinacea for cold and flu, but kratom fall into the weird category because neither a drug nor a dietary supplement. Companies have tried to get it as an herbal supplement, but the FDA won't allow that. There's not a lot of financial incentive for a company to spend several $100 million or $1 billion to try to get this approved as a drug. So that's not going to happen. And that's a common problem with any herbal medicine. So what are the clinical presentation of 7-OH in consumers? So it's very similar to opioid use disorder patients with nausea and vomiting, agitation, confusion, sweating, rapid heart rate, high blood pressure, trouble breathing, sleepiness, a loss of consciousness, seizure, respiratory depression, and severe enough can lead to death. So recommendation for clinicians and healthcare providers: provide general emergency and critical care medical support as warranted. Administer naloxone for reversal of respiratory depression. As you can see, naloxone or Narcan is commonly used to help reverse the overdose effect of opioid products like heroin and fentanyl, and it does work for 7-OH compounds, unfortunately. Observe and manage symptoms of opioid use disorder following the use of kratom or 7-OH products, and contact the Poison Center Network at 1-800 for any questions about medical management. Last week, we did talk about how to use the Poison Control Center. And for the public, people should avoid all products containing 7-OH, including products that claim to treat a health ailment. Spread the message also about the danger of 7-OH and how it can cause serious harm, including death, especially when you combine with other products. Examine the packaging and label when buying candies and other treats. Keep kratom and 7-OH products away from children and pets. Talk to children and teens about the danger of 7-OH and kratom products. Consult a doctor or pharmacist before using any supplements, especially one marketed for pain, energy, or mood. Talk to healthcare providers if help is needed with opioid addiction, anxiety, mood disorder, pain, or other ailments. Someone unresponsive or need urgent medical evaluation. And again, Poison Center 800-222-1222. So the bottom line is that please be aware of this potentially dangerous over-the-counter product that's readily available in smoke shop, gas station, and online. 7-OH or 7-hydroxymitragynine in a lot of products. Especially talk to youth about it and share the message to stay away from this. Thank you for tuning in, and have a wonderful Super Bowl Sunday, and please stay warm. It's very cold out there. There's a cold weather advisory where the weather can get down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which is kind of insane. Probably the coldest day of the year, of the season. Take care, everyone.